Hi, Alisa. Yes.
So, are people in the meeting already?
Yes.
How many people are
I
here?
think.
I can't see anybody, but if people are here, welcome everybody. I'm just getting set up here. My name's Alyssa, by the way. I'm the campus manager. Are people in the meeting, Janet? I keep losing Janet, who is our events coordinator here. If you're here and you can see me, write in the chat so I know that people are here.
Hi, Alisa. Yes, we can hear you perfectly. Don't worry about
Okay, how many people are here?
it. 17 right now.
Okay, I told people to write in the chat if they were here and nobody wrote, so I'm not sure if they're seeing me.
Taylor said she's from Alabama.
Ah, okay. I
Mel-
was in the wrong part. Okay.
Jose is from Spain. Welcome,
Okay.
guys.
Now I feel more in my element that I can see people are here. I was feeling very lonely and weird
No,
before.
no, don't worry, please.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. My name's Alyssa. I'm the campus manager for Four Geeks Miami. So tonight's event is basically an info session. We're going to be talking about our two main programs that we offer, which is our full stack software development program and also our data science and machine learning program. It's going to be very conversational Q&A style. We have our two founders coming. Our two founders are Alejandro Sanchez and Marcelo Ricigliano. They're gonna Alejandro, he's kind of like the syllabus mastermind. He's been coding since he was like 13 years old for like 25 plus years now. He launched his own company in Latin America. They needed software developers. He kind of noticed that disconnect between educational institutions and businesses. So he decided to start training in house. And then he was like really liking the educational aspect. And he was like, I can actually teach them what I know companies need because I am a company and I know what companies need, what languages are really popular, what languages are in demand by companies. So he launched Four Geeks Academy. We're in the USA, we're in Latin America, we're also in Europe. And then Marcelo, his background is in business and law, and then he kind of did a career switch into software development. So he handles more of the administration, student services, scholarships that we have, payment plans, um, partnerships, promotions, all that kind of stuff. So he's going to kind of speak to that side of things. Is Alejandro here yet, Janeth? Is he going to come here on the screen with us? Oh, there he is. Hey, Ali.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I was just introducing a little bit about Four Geeks, a little bit of background about you and Marcelo, the programs we're going to be going over tonight, and there's going to be like a short time where you and Marcelo talk, I guess, lecture style, but then it's going to be very Q&A and open and interactive.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, it should be 100% interactive, I think.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that way.
Make it a conversation. That's what we did last time on the a few months ago, and I think it went pretty good. Like we could just um, take questions as we speak about the programs, and like in a general way, we can take questions and then start start answering the questions from the audience, and I can interview Marcelo. Marcelo can interview me, or
Okay. There's people here right now, so there's like a bunch, I don't know, there's a bunch of people. I can't see the exact number, but if you look at the chat here, Richard actually asked the first question, which would be good to open, which is what is a full stack developer?
Well, that's a pretty good question, actually. Um, the I think it's more about what the marketing has made the industry. Like the definition of a full stack for me, it's different that it could be from for another person or school or someone. I think a full stack is someone that knows a little bit of everything. You can say it's more like a one man band, and it can be doing a little bit of backend or front end in JavaScript, or then maybe some backend in Python and Node. But then at the same time, it can also be able to do like a mobile application. It doesn't have to be like an expert in all of these things, but it has to be very versatile. And it this started existing, this concept of being full stack, because back then there was only backend, right? And like HTML CSS was not even considered part of the being a developer. HTML CSS was more like design. And then after the boom of JavaScript about 7 years ago, front end started becoming a thing, and a pretty good thing actually. They professionalized the front end development in such a way that it became its own field. So now you can be a full stack because you can know both sides. But before, being a developer was just basically being a backend developer that can know a little bit of front end HTML, CSS here and there. And JavaScript was so ugly and horrible that nobody wanted to do JavaScript. They wanted to work around it. Like, for example, Google created a way of doing JavaScript without doing JavaScript. You would do JavaScript in the backend, and then it will automatically compile and do the JavaScript for you. That's how much everyone hated JavaScript because it wasn't mature. So yeah. So full stack developer is someone that knows a lot about a lot of things, or not a lot, but it knows about a lot of things instead of specializing in one thing. And that's good. If you think about finding a job, that's good because you obviously have a big scope, and you can find I don't know, you can apply to front end positions or you can apply to back end positions depending on the things that, I don't know, on the things that you like or on the things that you feel more comfortable with. If you ask me about a software engineer, again, this is something that I think it's not very. I sometimes I see uh, publications about software engineers or maybe other courses that are supposed to train you in software engineering, and I don't agree with that, with the syllabus that they're teaching and stuff, because if you ask me, a software engineer should be more than a full stack developer. It should be someone that can come up with better and more optimized or professional and creative strategies to fix problems. I mean, when you add the word engineer to anything, it just makes it just becomes fixing problems. And if I wanna train someone not only for being a full stack developer but also to becoming an engineer, I would say that I would focus 100% on debugging and very good at fixing things, but also it will need to have more, let's say, more background and more knowledge to be able to fix more issues. So I think you become a full stack developer, and then after a while you can, no one will tell you when, but you become an engineer when you become more senior and more capable of fixing things. But in the if you don't want to get philosophical, I think it's the same thing. Some people treat it as the same thing in a lot of the situations, and I think it's not fair, but that's how they treat it basically. And then it says, looks like vertical integrated for all necessary elements with across many disciplines. You mean, I think Richard is saying about being integrated with many disciplines. You mean the full stack or the engineer? I think it's more like the full stack, right?
Yeah, I think that's what he was referring to.
Yeah, actually, the reason that it's crazy because the reason that we call it a full stack developer when we're trying to when we created this program is obviously because I'm an engineer and I wanted to be very um, like best. I wanted to follow the best practices on naming the program, but at the same time, I was a little bit annoyed that most of the programs will say that they teach you to become an engineer, and then they will do it like in 8 weeks. And I don't think it's enough. I think to become an engineer, you should more know more to name yourself engineer. You should know more than a full stack developer. That's just my opinion, right? Um, and that's how we basically built the program around it. Then I see also, like, if you come, Miguel Palacios is saying that he knows a lot about hardware and operating systems, and I think that's a very good background, by the way, and databases and the transition to become a developer. How is it going to be? I think at the beginning of the course that we built, we started from the backend to the front end, and then we had to switch from the front end to the backend. So one of the first things you're going to experience is you're going to experience a lot of front end. That is something that you're not comfortable with because you come from hardware, networking, and databases. But the reason that we will focus on the front end first is because, um, like, I think the most value you can get from a bootcamp is when it allows you to transition and to get a better career soon. And for us, it's obviously the challenge is not, I can put a lot of knowledge or a lot of lessons, and I can teach you a lot of things. But if you're not in the right mindset, you're not going to absorb that content. So the majority of the decisions that we make when building the syllabus, it's about how can we make this more digestible? How can we lower the learning curve? How can we make it fun? How can we make it practical? And things like that. And starting from the front end helps with that because obviously you start seeing what you're doing immediately, and you can do a little game, or you can do an app, and there's a lot of dopamine coming into your brain. You can even show what you did today. Let's say that you're in the first 2 weeks of the bootcamp and you already did a website. You can come home and show that to someone. But if you're doing backend first, then it's gonna be like, look what I did, and you're gonna show a bunch of letters in a black screen. It doesn't make sense, right? So it's about dopamine, the decision to start from the front end. So you're gonna feel, Miguel, you're gonna feel that there's a lot of front end coming in, and since probably you're not comfortable with it, you may feel frustrated about the amount of things we're going to be doing in the front end. Because another important concept in a syllabus or in a course is that it has to be incremental, right? So if I'm starting from the front end, then I have to teach you the basic things about coding in general in the front end. So it doesn't really mean that we're teaching you front end specifically, but since we have to teach you the basics of coding and then looping and then a bunch of concepts around that, we're going to do it in the front end because it's a coincidence that we are already in the front end. So the front end part of the course is going to feel longer than the back end, but it's basically because we're teaching you everything, like the cornerstones of coding, or the basics of coding and all of that. You're solidifying your content, your knowledge in the front end, because that's how it was designed to make it more fun. And then when we arrive to the back end, that's when you're going to go back to your previous knowledge that you had already. Like, oh my God, okay, now finally I can use the previous knowledge that I had from hardware or SQL Server or databases and stuff like that. But it's not going to help you a lot at the beginning. Like, let's say in the first 2 months, it's not going to help you at all. So, but you obviously have a good mindset already, because since you have a very good background in databases and stuff, then it's gonna help you. You already have the logical thinking. So yeah. Let me show you another thing. There's a way to present here, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to show as well, like, right. Some so about expectations and understanding on finishing the course. So when you finish the course, the we call it a second bootcamp. We have like 16 or 18 weeks of intensive technical training, and then we get into another bunch of weeks that can vary from, let's say, from 4 weeks to 90 to even 120 days. It doesn't matter. We never stop giving you support. But let's say that the first 2 months of your job hunting, it's going to be like a second bootcamp, because that's what you're going to be starting. We do mock interviews with you to make it chronological. I think Alisa can also talk about this a little bit, but in general, we try to replicate real life job hunting process, in which you start from building your resume and LinkedIn, and then obviously everything you did in the bootcamp has to become something you can showcase. So that's going to be part of your portfolio. But at the same time, you're gonna do logical thinking tests, database creation tests. We have a bunch of exercises internally that we have internally developed, but at the same time, we also recommend the typical websites that have a lot of interview questions and stuff, and we're going to help you go through that. But to be honest, the key to finding a job or to finding like there's 2 challenges or 3 challenges. The first one is getting the interview, and that has nothing to do with becoming a good coder, and it has nothing to do with being good at interviews. Like, the only thing you need to get an interview, it's a good resume, a good LinkedIn, a good GitHub, and a lot of will to apply to the places you have to apply. You have to apply to a lot of positions, and then obviously to network. There's a way to network online as well, like to get references or to get referrals, so that you can, I don't know, apply to in the right way to the jobs. So that's the first challenge. Then after you're already applying, and we say, okay, we think you're ready to start applying. Then, while at the same time that you apply, we start giving you the training on being good at an interview, because it's going to take a little bit to get the interviews. So let's say that you already applied to 100 jobs. So we're going to let those applications marinate, right? We're going to let them be there in front of the job hunt of the recruiters, so that eventually they will call you. Let's say if you apply to 100, let's say that 2 of them call you. So that's going to take probably a couple of weeks. And in the meantime, we're going to be practicing coding exercises, and we're going to be practicing how to behave in an interview, how to be very good, how to thrive in an interview. And then once you actually get an interview, then you're going to be allowed, we're going to ask you and recommend you to put a mentoring session, because we have unlimited mentoring sessions for life. So you can put a mentoring session whenever you want, with me or with any of the other experts, so that we can prepare for that particular job. Let's say that you got an interview with a healthcare company. So that training is going to be different, because if it's a healthcare company, probably you will need to use the same or become familiar with the tools in healthcare that they're using. So we're going to obviously do research on the website, on the tools that they use, and then we're going to give you training in that particular interview, so that we can increase dramatically the chances of getting the job in the first or second or third interview. So that's the process. And then you also ask about expectations on understanding. I think you're not going to feel that you understand much when you graduate. It's not going to happen because you're going to be overwhelmed. But that doesn't mean that that you didn't absorb any of the content. Well, in my experience, what usually happens is that after you graduate from the bootcamp, that's like obviously in the last 3 weeks of the bootcamp, you're doing a capstone project, and that's very good because that's when you actually apply most of your knowledge and everything makes sense. But still, you only have done it 2 or 3 times. So it's not like you feel comfortable. You don't feel comfortable. But after you graduate, you're going to continue practicing, and that's when everything is going to start making sense because we're not going to give you any extra knowledge. Like once you stop receiving additional concepts and you stop learning new stuff, then all you have to do is solidify the previous stuff that we already taught you. So that's when everything starts making clicks. So that last phase of the bootcamp, when you graduate, you're still frustrated a little bit. Everything's starting to make sense, but then those next couple of weeks or that next month, while you apply and continue practicing, but at the same time build your resume and everything, that's when everything starts clicking and it's more enjoyable, let's say, because we're not giving you any extra content anymore. So that's great. Okay, there's another question there saying, what are your thoughts on bootcamps versus traditional education? I keep seeing that bootcamps have a harder time getting interviews and jobs. Well, I don't think it's about getting it. Like I said, getting an interview has nothing to do with being a good developer or anything like that. Getting an interview, also, it has changed a lot in the past few months. Getting an interview, like let's say in average, our graduates 2 years ago were getting let's say something around 5 interviews for every 100 jobs, something like that. That was 2 years ago, like right after COVID, right? Then the market became tougher, and we had to change the ways that we were recommending to the students to apply to the interviews, because the amount of people that are applying to jobs today, it's exponentially, it's like one order of magnitude bigger than before, because now, since remote job became a thing, you have a lot more competition, right? Like you have competition from abroad. So I don't think it matters if you're from a university or if you're from, because if you're looking people from a university, there's like 100 applicants from India that have PhD degrees that will apply at the same time that you're applying. So I don't think it's about what type of degree do you have. I think it's about being smart and having the best and being able to adapt to what the current market is asking you for. Like for example, we have very good relationships with most of the companies in the Florida state, for example, and we're actively doing with them internship programs, and they're actually telling us the type of people that they want, and we're trying to obviously tailor the graduates and the programs that we have so that they can match with the local companies. So that's how you get some advantage, or that's how you get ahead from other educational institutions. So I don't think at all it's related to the type of institution that they're graduating from. I think it's more about being smart and being there for being at the right place at the right time, right? Like applying to the right positions and being smart about it. Then I see another question there about how are related the for example Europe and USA. Well, that's not a franchise. It's the same people. Like this is not a company that is still being run by the founders, and it's still being run by a small team. So basically, we run the two programs from the same places. There's obviously a country manager in Spain that is called Victor, and the program manager from Spain. I mean, we have a very small team there, and a very small team here that runs each program. So there's a program manager that basically handles the taking care of the teachers and the quality of the education, and then there's admissions, that is basically the student advisors that will help you get into the program and take advantage of the scholarships and the financing and the right career for you. And then there's the teachers, obviously, that are local teachers always. We usually hire teachers from the same market where the course is being taught. So yeah, it's pretty much the same. How is it related? It's the same thing. It's the same company. And when we do a piece of content, for example, for the course, we do it in English and then we translate immediately to Spanish, because we obviously have a big audience in Spanish as well. So if you're more comfortable doing the courses in Spanish, you're gonna be perfectly okay. And or if you're more comfortable doing it in English, you can also do it in English perfectly. And I would say that the biggest difference between both markets is career support, because since we have very local partnerships with the companies, when you apply to the Spanish course in Spain, you will be having a career support service from Spain. That's very local. And when you do it from the United States or from Miami or Florida, then you do it from Florida, and it goes like that. So yeah, the biggest difference is career support, I would say. By the way, Alisa, if you want to interrupt me with whatever I'm saying, you can interrupt me.
So far, no, you're good.
2 out of 200 is a reasonable response from the market. You mean two interviews from 200 applications? I think it's reasonable, but I've seen obviously every case in the world. Like I've seen people get a job before graduating. And I'm not speaking like a once in a lifetime. No, like it happens quite a few times that if you apply to the right position, they will just hire you immediately. Like it's crazy. Like it's random. But if you want to make it average, I would say a little bit more than that. But yeah, 2 out of 200 doesn't sound bad. It's a good response. It's a tough market right now. Yeah. So the key is not to apply to 200 positions like crazy. No, the key is to apply to way lower amount of positions, but apply in the right way. Like if you can get a referral, if you can get if we can give you that referral from one of our partners and stuff like that, I mean, it's gonna be the ratio from application to interview is gonna be way better. So someone's asking about the unique, what's unique about the data science course program. Well, as a company, we have philosophy, and one of the biggest things that we have in our core, it's being coding oriented. Like all of our programs are coding programs. It doesn't matter if it's data science or cybersecurity or blockchain or whatever. We do coding intensive programs, and that's because we believe that's a way to get ahead in the market, obviously. So when we built the data science program, we were always thinking about how to apply code heavily into that program, because, for example, R is a language for doing data science, but we know that it was built for no coders, so that they can transition into coding for data science in an easier manner. We knew from day one that we didn't want that approach. We wanted the approach where you can hack data science, basically, where you can just do whatever you want with it. So when you start from day one, actually the first week of the program, when you join, you're already going to be Python heavy oriented, and you're going to be doing a lot of exercises in Python, so that we can give you the background to then transition into more data science that is more about statistics, and it's more about probability and the machine learning algorithms that you're going to go over and everything, but in a very Pythonish way. And also, everything you're going to be doing at the course when you're doing the data science, it's going to be put into production. And I think that's a very important, it's a very unique thing about the program, is that when you're being taught for data science, usually, and probably you have seen this when you're watching YouTube videos and stuff, they do it in notebooks. They call it Jupyter notebooks. So basically, they will open a notebook and they will do everything in the notebook. But that notebook doesn't have absolutely nothing to do with real life. That's like an isolated, cool environment. So we don't like notebooks. We will give you some notebooks, obviously, because that's how the data scientists communicate. You will communicate your ideas on a notebook to your boss or whatever. But we want you to do the models and the predictions and everything about that you're learning or practicing in data science. We want you to do it in Python so that you can publish it immediately and you can put it in real time in a real time environment, so that it continues making predictions, not like in a notebook that you have to press play and it will give you the results. Like, it's a manual process, the notebook. So yeah, our program is heavily coding oriented, and it will give you the tools to become closer to becoming a machine learning engineer that can deploy in production solutions for predictions for companies. And yeah, so that's basically one of the biggest differences. Let me see. There's a bunch of questions there, so let me. I'm seeing here. If I'm taking the LATAM for Geeks Academy Bootcamp, there's a way to get into the internship in Florida. Yeah, that's tough. Like, the markets are very different from each other. There's a lot of regulations. The also companies, obviously, because we want to give advantages to our students. The relationships that we try building are very local relationships. So it goes against that relationship that we build. Let's say that we have a good relationship with Casella, that is an important company in Miami, that it has hired 1,000 people in the last 12 months. If we have a good relationship with them, and we have been talking and deepening the relationship because we have local talent, then offering remote talent to them doesn't make any sense. So that's not the approach that we take. Because if you're in a tough market when everyone can apply to jobs remotely, the way to be ahead of the others is because you're local and you can be at the office one day a week, and you understand the culture of the city and stuff like that. So we make career support processes very local. So I don't think, to answer your question in a more pragmatic way, I don't think it's a good idea to apply to the LATAM Academy and then try to pursue the internship in Florida. What is the scope of the syllabus? Is it updated yearly? Yeah, the syllabus is not updated yearly. The syllabus is updated in real time. Like, this is crazy. Like, you have an idea. Like, that's another thing. I mean, we have so many things happening internally that it's hard to put them on a website and show them to the students. But the syllabus, the what we built behind the scenes is not like a syllabus that we will give you a PDF or a book or something like that. We have a system in place where all the content is collaborative. So when you're a student, let's say that you find a misspell, you can just click and propose the change to that. The same happens with the teachers, by the way. We gather every week and they propose things without having to, I don't know, without having a formal process. What we have is called a pull request, and it's the best way to collaborate. That's how, for example, software is built. It's the same way, like the Linux software or the React library or the Pandas library for machine learning. All of those libraries are open source, and they were built by prominent software developers in a remote way. They don't even know each other. They don't know each other sometimes. They just work from home, they look at the requirements, and they do a pull request, and some other developer will have to do like a peer review, like the scientifics, that they do peer reviews. And then if 2 people review the pull request that you did, then your code gets uploaded. We do the same thing for the syllabus. We're always doing pull requests and peer reviews for the syllabus. So it is very easy for us to make an update into the syllabus. So the syllabus changes heavily. we change it on a daily basis. Right now, I can give you a link so that you can see how many changes are pending to be made just like in the next week, let's say. There's 97 changes in the. I can join the chat here. I think I can, right? No, I cannot. I will have to join through YouTube. I'm gonna put it in the YouTube channel so that you guys can see that we're pending 90 changes in the next. I cannot chat here either. That's crazy.
Okay. If you send it to Janeth, she can post it.
Right. Let me send it to Janet. There it is. So that's just basically the latest changes that we're gonna make to the syllabus. So yeah, it's a very alive syllabus, and it's and we're making changes all the time. Let me go back to the window where the conversation is coming. It's going because I lost it. Here it is. Okay. I live in Miami. Can you do a course in Spanish or in English? Well, in Miami, we try to hire all the teachers bilingual. And all the content and the videos, most of the videos, because some of the videos are in English. But all the content, all the practices, the exercises, the automatic grading, and everything is in Spanish as well. And the teachers, we hire them bilingual. So if you prefer to ask the questions in Spanish, you can just ask them in Spanish, and the teacher will answer in English. We do have the classes in English, so even though the teacher will answer you, will understand what you're saying in Spanish, the teacher will answer in English so that the entire class can hear. But also, if you want to keep a few seconds or minutes after the class, obviously you can ask stuff. And the TAs, the teacher assistants, they also, most of them are bilingual because, in Miami, most of the people are bilingual, and our courses in Miami are from, like I said, we hire local people. So most of them speak Spanish and English as well. Do you have any advice for juniors in not losing technique if we don't have a job yet? Yeah, my advice is what I normally tell the students, it's to start a real. It doesn't matter if you're not paid. Try to put a few hours into a real job. It can be one of your family members that wants to build something. If you have family that have a business, try to help them with your coding skills. Like you need to keep coding. If you stop coding, that's when you're basically cursed. You cannot stop coding. Keep coding every day, something. And I don't recommend doing like things that you don't really use. Like say that you're gonna build a little game that you saw on YouTube. That's fine. But since you don't have a real purpose and you don't have, let's say, someone that is expecting you to deliver that software, then it's not the same commitment. So the best way to commit is to commit to something real that exists. So yeah, I would 100% recommend that. I think Marcelo is here. So Marcelo, when you want to jump in and answer any of the questions, I'm happy to share the mic.
Lenin is actually asking if AI is replacing developers, and that's a conversation that we're having recently a lot. Hi everyone, I'm sorry that I'm a little late, but I had a family emergency. Nothing to worry, but it was a last minute thing. Well, AI, the main answer that Alejandro and I had this conversation recently, and we were having like an argument about if I'm a developer, or if I'm a lawyer, or if I'm a surgeon, or if I'm an engineer, should I feel threatened about AI? And not the only one, but one of the professions or the careers that I believe are really struggling because of AI is law. Like if you're a lawyer, then you're, my God, you're really, you should be, because the whole documentation, advice, consulting, it's going to be provided or solved through AI, probably in a more than decent way and way cheaper than what law delivers. But instead, for software developers, I believe that the road is actually broader right now. So if you want to build, if the future, let's say that the future is AI centric, how do you get there? You get there only by getting skills in coding that will little by little progress into AI, probably. Like, there's no shortcut. Like, you're not gonna be an AI expert from one day to another. So it's a career that you have to build upon some skills, and these are some of the skills that you need to have as a base, as a groundstone for the AI era that we're probably experiencing in the next few years. I also saw that there's a few people in Miami. I don't know, guys, if you actually talk about the some of the partnerships that we have developed in the recent month with Miami Tech Coalition. I've seen also a few questions about job opportunities in the market. Last night I was in a meeting with a bunch of people. I live in Central Florida, by the way, and I had a meeting with a bunch of different organizations and people related to technology, and they were saying like, hey, in-person job opportunities are maybe not as a thing as before, but the amount of opportunities in general for a software developer have been actually increasing. It's not decreasing. Is it hard to get a job as a junior developer? I think it's as hard as it is anything that you need to apply for a job after college. Like if you are I don't know, if you're coming out of college 4 or 5 years after and you get a job, a junior job, it'll be as hard as graduating in out of a bootcamp. What we have seen is that people that are really committed, passionate, working and delivering projects and building and collaborating in different projects and putting at least 25 to 30 hours a week during and after the program. Normally, those are the students that actually get and land a job afterwards, and that's a fact. 90% of the students that fulfill all those requirements are getting a job afterwards within the next 4 to 6 months. 4 to 6 months. So within a year, you can achieve that. It's up to you. There is a component of responsibility there. It's up to you how much you can deliver. Sometimes you can't. Like sometimes you're stuck with a bunch of commitments and temp jobs and college and family and maybe it's harder. But if you find the way to put the time and the focus in building your career as a developer within a year, you're gonna get probably get a job in the field. Yeah. What do you need to get a scholarship? I live in Miami. Actually, you need to apply and send us an email. You can send us an email at usa@4geeksacademy.com, or you can also call. But I think the email right now it's even a faster option. You can call us. It's 786. I think it's 786-416-4460.
6640, and it's here in the chat.
6640.
You can call or text that number. There it is.
Or you can send us an email, usa@4geeksacademy.com, and you say, hey, I attended the event. I'm in Miami. I really want to do this. And then we can guide you through the process. The only thing that I say is that you should you should try hard to apply as soon as you can because we have just a few spots left. It's a limited edition scholarship that might be renewed next year. But right now we have less than, I believe, 7 spots available.
Maybe less. Maybe less than 5.
So it's pretty much you apply, you get the opportunity to complete the pre-work. You go through the process, the admissions process, and the sooner the better for you to get one of those spots. We also have some partial and ongoing relationships in the rest of the U.S. If you're not in Miami, you can get a portion of the tuition fee paid by one of the funds or grants that we have available. So you can also ask for that if that's a thing. Would it be possible to show how the student platform looks? Yeah, of course. Actually, you can go ahead and see it. You can go to 4geeks.com and start the pre-work. There's a couple of resources and a bunch of projects, open projects for you to
but they will not fill the the bootcamp experience, right? Because there's
Right.
if you go to
Go
for
the content only, yeah.
right, the it's gonna be a platform that has a lot of benefits, but it's not the premium bootcamp experience. So
But you know what? There is a trick in free gigs, and sometimes we never share this, and maybe we should be more open about how to share that. If you actually apply to the bootcamp and you have a conversation with us, and you say, "Hey, I want to experience the pre-work," ask the pre-work for the bootcamp, then you get access to everything for free.
right, and you don't have to put your money yet.
There's no money commitment. Actually, it's better for us because if you complete the pre-work, then we feel even better about your performance afterwards.
Right.
So it's actually that easy. We should. Now that I say it out loud, I remember myself saying this in the last few years, and we're never as strong about that message as we should. You only need to apply and request access to the pre-work, and you get access to the bootcamp, the first portion of the bootcamp for free, no commitment. And it is like that. There's no.
Someone's asking there, would it be possible? No, that was not it. The data scientist course have any approach about how to work using AI? Well, just remember that being a data scientist has nothing to do with using AI on your daily basis for being productive. That's more like you mean like using ChatGPT, prompting, or Midjourney, or any of those tools. That's not related at all to being a data scientist or a machine learning engineer. Like, because the boom, there's two main branches of AI. There's a generative approach that it's more like to generate stuff. Let's say generate a blog post, an image, an algorithm. It doesn't matter, like anything. And then there's the other one that is to predict stuff. So, for example, a bank. If you work at a bank, you want to predict fraud. You want to predict if someone's going to pay you back what you lend them. That's not related at all with ChatGPT. It's not related at all with Midjourney or any of those tools, right? It's gathering the data from the institution, looking at the past, and being able to predict the future. That's being a data scientist, a machine learning engineer, and stuff like that. Then there's the other side of generative AI, that is being able to use AI to be more productive at your current or future tasks. So for that, this is not the course that will teach you that. But since we understand that using AI, it's an important factor for example, let's say software development, we are developing two things internally that they're about to be published for teaching the courses. Like, for example, when you start a course at 4Geeks, we're about to be releasing prompting for developers. So, for example, when you're in the middle of the course, if we give you a task, like say build a Spotify clone, an application very similar to Spotify, we're going to help you, and we're going to give you a tool to get better at speaking with an AI to give you all the code you need so that you can be faster at building the Spotify. So that's more like, you can think about it like every course you do in the future, if it doesn't have applied AI into it to become more productive, then it's not a course that you should be doing. Because when someone was asking before about if software developers are going to be replaced by AIs, the reason why they're not going to be replaced is because the demand of new software developers is so big, and it's going to get so bigger, that all the things that AIs are going to be able to do are still not going to be enough to replace developers, because developers were going to have to run those AIs. Like, developers are going to have to say, okay, it's like you become a 10x developer. That's what's going to happen. Instead of you needing more developers, you can keep the same developers you had already, because they become way better, way more productive. So yeah, implementing into the course prompting techniques. We also are working hard on building, and we already have an early stage of an AI bot that it's built for coding, and it's aware of the students. So when you're speaking to the bot, it's going to know who you are, the current status of your tasks, your syllabus, your problems, and then obviously it's gonna help you get faster into becoming a developer, because you're gonna have instantaneous feedback from the bot. We already have other tools for feedback, instantaneous feedback as well. Like, for example, we have automatic grading in every exercise we do. But now you have not only the grading, like if it's good or bad, but you also have recommendations from a bot. So that's part of what the things that we're doing to improve the syllabus in the near future. So about internships, I don't know if you want to do this one, Marcelo, or should I do it?
Yeah, we can. I can. So we have two things. We have actually we have several things. We have a group of partners offering internships and apprenticeships to people graduating and excelling coming out of the program. To name a few, Colab, Make It MVP. Those are some organizations. Some of them are even nonprofit that offer you the possibility to have an internship within the organization, build projects, working groups, and improve your portfolio, and then get the experience that will help you land the job afterwards. That's one thing. That's an ongoing, permanent thing that happens in Miami, but in general in the whole nationwide. B, we're working with bigger organizations to have a permanent internal apprenticeship program. I can't actually name the names of the companies that we're working with because that's actually a confidential thing. But I'm talking about the top 500 companies. A few of them are working on this, and then C, in some cities, in some ecosystems, we're having the opportunity to have a group. In Miami, we call it the coalition, but we have the same in Orlando. We're working on the same in Atlanta, in Georgia, to have an apprenticeship program for different things. One of them is for project management. The other one is for front-end development. And those could be paid or not paid. And we're also getting funding for the OJT grant, that it's like a thing in the US, that will pay for your salary within the next few months. So there's a bunch, like that requires a whole conversation that maybe needs a little bit more time probably. But the straightforward answer is yes, there is a bunch of different opportunities for you to actually continue your program or your software development skills with us afterwards. We even have, Alejandro leads a group of people that work for projects at 4Geeks within the platform that we're building, or technologies that some partners request us to build upon that. And we sometimes include some of the graduates that are performing really good to become part of those scrums and groups of work. Yeah, that's a thing that happens. And we have also noticed that if you land an apprenticeship after the program, or if you become a TA after the program, the chance for you to get a job increases like 3 times. It's impressive how important. Well, it's actually basic, right? Like the more experience that you get, the more chances that you get to land a new job. Like it's pretty much like that. Yeah, I think that's it.
Also, there's the opportunity to be a TA or a mentor after graduation too. So our best performing students, we offer them one of 3 things actually. You can be a TA, so you basically get to take the class over, but you actually get paid this time. So not only do you take it for free, but you get paid to take the class. So you're assisting the teacher in grading projects, taking attendance, recording the class, helping students, that kind of stuff. Option 2 is a one-on-one mentor. So all 4Geeks students get unlimited one-on-one mentorships, both during the pre-work and during class. So if you get stuck, if there's a project that you need help with, you can just go into the 4Geeks platform and you can book. Well, while you're a student, you get access to the mentorships. And then our best performing students after graduation, you could have the opportunity to be a mentor. So you could get paid and work remotely, helping what would then be new incoming and current students to work on the same projects that you just completed during your boot camp. So it's like a double thing. You'll get access to that while you're a student, great benefit, and then you'll have the opportunity to maybe do that after graduation. And then third, we have group mentoring sessions. So once again, you'll get access to the group mentoring sessions while you're a student. Works very similarly to the one-on-one, except it's in a group, but it's led by mentors. And then after graduation, you could be a group mentor leader as another way to better your skills, make money, gain experience, work remotely, all of that.
You know what? But it's also a conversation that normally takes a lot of time. Like, we normally receive every single day hundreds of different applications or requests for information or different approaches from different people around the world to get to know more about us or how to access and how the syllabus work. But one of the main things that actually divides the people that move forward with the program or not is access to education, like how you access quality in our specific world, how you access top quality coding education, how, because it's not easy. Like, you have to face banking institutions, financial boundaries, credit checks, working permits. There's a, like, the US is also becoming more and more, it's been like that forever, but more and more a country that receive a lot of people from everywhere. So there are many different limitations to achieve this, financially speaking, I mean. And then time-wise, it's a different thing. Like, it's also a thing. And we have put a lot of effort and resources and opportunities to lower the wall or the obstacle, to lower the boundaries and to make it more accessible. So you can even join for geeks in any of the programs, the data science or the full stack program. In some cases, it's actually free because of partnerships. In some cases, you get 40-50% off because of a federal grant. In some cases, you get a partial scholarship because we have an association or a relationship with nonprofit organizations helping Blacks in technology, the LGBTQIA community, or the Latinos community, women in technology. Everything combined makes it possible. Like, we do understand how hard it is to get an opportunity like this. Or you can even go through the program and pay when you land a job in the field or after the program, the completion of the program. So money should not be the main boundary. If you're here and if you're struggling with that and you're wondering how to make it possible, I'd rather have an open conversation with each one of you, which we do actually, and explore the option and see what's more convenient. Sometimes, to be honest, the cheapest option is to come up with a payment right up front. That's the way cheaper option because you pay way less. But it's a lot at the same time. Like, how you come up with one payment for such an amount. So you can pay after, you can pay $100 per month, you can get a partial or total scholarship. So raise your hand, not publicly, but send a message, call us, or send an email and ask for that support, get that support, because we're all open about that. And we do understand how hard it is, and that's one of the main focuses that we have. So Alisa, if we don't have any other questions, I think we can move on and say thanks to everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys all for coming. Just like Marcelo said, there are plenty of ways to contact us. We've shared a bunch of them in the chat. Janeth is writing discounts. Yes, we have different scholarships available. Like Marcelo said, some of them are full. The full scholarship available right now is for residents of Miami-Dade and Broward County, and we have very, very limited seats left. So if that's something that you're interested in, please email us. Please call us ASAP so we can get you in before those sell out. But we do have other partial scholarships like Marcelo was mentioning. So if you're not in Miami or Broward, still reach out to us. Our phone number is in the chat, our email. You can just email usa@4geeksacademy.com and we'll get it. And yeah, we'd love to help you. If money's an issue, like Marcelo said, we can meet with you one-on-one. We can find out a way for you to enroll. We have scholarship options. We have options to pay after you get a job. So don't let that be an issue.
And you know that we're normally by default talking a lot about Florida as a thing, but 50% of our students right now are coming from other states, by the way, and those are also getting opportunities, financial opportunities and financial help. If you're in California, for example, a coding school normally costs 20 to 30K. 4 Geeks is a third of that in the full tuition price. So if you get a discount or a scholarship, it's even way less than that. If you're in Texas, in Austin, we also have programs. If you're in Georgia or New York, like just try, and we'll try with you to make it possible. Yeah.
And the best part is just because it's less money doesn't mean you sacrifice quality. So you can go and you can find free courses online, but they lack structure. They lack a lot of things that 4 Geeks Bootcamp has. So you're getting a top quality program at a top great price. So that's why we're the go-to coding bootcamp in all of Florida and all of America soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
guys.
you for having us. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.